Hello, this is Robert with Beyond 20. Today we're working in Cherwell version 5, and we're going to cover how to create a scheduled backup job and some of the different options that Cherwell provides for rolling backup files over, keeping multiple copies, and just a general what you want to be aware of while you're scheduling a Cherwell backup. So let's go ahead and launch the orange planet here, and then head over to Scheduling on the left under Categories, and then let's edit the schedule. I want to take a quick note of what might be running already so we know what to schedule, what time to schedule the daily, weekly, or monthly backup in Cherwell. We often set up systems to have AD imports done in the morning, so it might make sense since the backups can tend to take a decent amount of time depending on the size of your database. We might want to schedule this for the night, the night before. So maybe around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. at night, depending on how late your organization is working. So to add a new backup schedule job, we'll want to go ahead and click on Add. And then depending on your scheduled group, you'll most likely leave this default. However, select the appropriate setting here. And in this case, let's take a look at scheduling a weekly backup. This is going to keep a backup of every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday. For every day of the week, it's going to keep a snapshot of Cherwell in its current state that backup ran. You may want to enter a description of what this scheduled backup is going to do here. And let's go ahead and click on Scheduling and set up the recurring schedule. So we want to go ahead and click on Recurring. This is going to run every day. And since I usually set up AD imports to run in the morning, I'm going to have this backup job run at 9 p.m. the night before. Some other items we want to make sure it's scheduled to daily and that it runs every day. That there's also no end date. We want to make sure that our backups continue to run. And let's head over to Action on the left. And you'll see there's a bunch of different actions that we can select here in Cherwell. We want to stick with the backup database. For the directory, we want the universal name convention here entered in. So that's going to be // server name, such as our server backup, and then the share path might be called Cherwell backups. You want to make sure that this is set and completely configured and accessible to the machine that's going to be running the scheduled jobs. We can double check that those rights are set up correctly. We want to make sure that it's a read and write rights. And so if we go ahead and open up a Windows Explorer and then just go up to the top and then type in the backup server information, Cherwell backups, and then hit enter. Well, as long as we can access this machine and write to it and read to it, then we know for sure that the Cherwell backup scheduled job will run correctly. In this case, I don't have a backup server running on my local VM, so this is not going to work. But if it, yeah, here we go. So Windows can't access this. Yep, don't have a backup set up here yet. But you will want to make sure that you're specifying that network path rather than just using, B:/ is your backup location. So you want the UNC path here. And for the file name, we're just going to call that cherwellbackup.zar. And then let me go select a real directory here. Go to our downloads folder. Okay, so since we want to create a rollover for every day of the week, so we want every Monday to be a snapshot of the last Monday, we want to check the rollover files box. So the scheduled job is going to execute every single day, and by checking rollover files and keeping it on weekly, it's going to have a Cherwell backup ZAR that's going to say Cherwell backup-Monday. And then every Monday, it's going to be overwritten with that Monday's backup. So we'll be essentially keeping a full week's worth of backups for Cherwell. Alternatively, if we selected monthly, what this is going to do is it's going to append the day of the month to the backup. So it'll say Cherwell backup 1, Cherwell backup 2, and then every month it's going to overwrite that on a scheduled basis. And since the job is running daily, it's going to schedule a daily backup to overwrite the previous month's day's backup. So in February 1st, it's going to create a backup called Cherwell Backup 1. March 1st, it's going to create another backup that says Cherwell Backup 1. It's going to overwrite February 1st backup. So you'll want to make sure that you're keeping proper backups based off of any requirements that you have internally. There's definitely, you can create a backup for every day of the year. So you want to decide what makes most sense for your organization and how much space that you have available for the backup system. So go ahead and select weekly here. And if we scroll down, we have a few different options. So we're going to want to check the export entire system. This is going to include everything, all the business objects, all the security settings, all the attachments, all the pending automation data that's supposed to run. It's going to keep an entire snapshot of everything Cherwell in your system. So this is essentially the same set of options you'll get if you're trying to export the Cherwell database and create a ZAR manually. You'll see that these are pretty much the similar settings here. If you're having a daily backup run, you may want to exclude attachments depending on how many attachments you have in your system. That'll make the scheduled backups run a little bit more quickly. However, if you do exclude attachments in this scenario, you want to make sure you have at least some other kind of backup in place that does do that, but maybe not on a daily basis. Maybe it's only backing up the attachments once a week. But you want to decide what works best for your organization and move on from there. So we want to create a log file just so we have an idea of what happened in that specific backup, and then scroll down here to error handling. We want to make sure that if the scheduled job fails, that it continues to run. So let's say, for example, that there was an issue on the backup server and it wasn't available that night and it was down. We want to make sure that this box is checked so Cherwell will continue to create a backup the next time it's scheduled to run. You'll also want to go ahead and set up a one-step to just send a quick email if that backup fails. So you're aware that there was something that didn't get backed up that night. And then you might want to dive into it a little bit to see what was going on, the network around that time, and make sure that there's nothing else that you have to worry about. So I'm not going to go ahead and create the one step to send the email, but you'll want to go ahead and do that on every scheduled backup job. So once that's all set, you're going to go ahead and click on Test just to make sure that everything is running correctly. And so since we did the weekly backup, there's going to be a maximum of 7 files. So we want to keep in mind that the amount of storage space we're going to take is essentially going to be equivalent of 1 ZAR times 7. So if we did the monthly route and we had a 10 gig database, that's going to be quite a bit of space it's taken up. So we'll want to take a look at a general export. Just do a full ZAR export, and that'll give you a good idea of how much space you need. You want to make sure that there's enough space to handle whatever the backup settings were, whether it's the nightly, the weekly, the monthly, or the yearly rollover. You want to make sure that there's plenty of space for that so the backup jobs do not fail. But if they do, you'll be able to get an email that lets you know that it did fail, so you're able to look into it again. So we see that this completed successfully, so that's good. Go ahead and click OK, and then we can see that this backup job is scheduled to run at 9 p.m. And there we have it. So we're able to create a scheduled backup job that's using the Cherwell nightly rollover, which means it's going to keep a maximum of 7 files, 1 for every day of the week. So we'll have a Sunday rollover that's overwritten every Sunday, a Monday that's overwritten every Monday, and so forth for the rest of the days of the week. This is Robert with Beyond 20. Hope you enjoyed watching our video today. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for other Cherwell tips and tricks. Thank you.